Oh, the AI fight is on in a way that it has never been before. I mean, who thought that the meme ended with that many ninja moves? So it turns out you can dangle a sausage from a drone and direct dogs where to go. I mean, I hate to say it, but it feels like foreshadowing. I would call this image of the future more than 2, less than 12. AI fashion is now morphing into a thing that I'm not into. You know I've had high hopes for Wild Robot after covering the trailer, but I was shocked to log in to Rotten Tomatoes and see a 98% score. Really, really interesting new update from Claude that allows the AI to see what's on your screen and control your mouse. This could be a game changer. RunwayML's new AI model that can take your face and the facial expressions you make and map it directly onto AI-generated characters is insane. AI researchers have introduced the idea of a system 0 thinking. You know, fast system 1, slow system 2. This is system 0. Fascinating stuff. There's a new AI model that learned about the real world by directly tapping into the physics of the environment around it. No help from humans. A new study showed that humans do display sympathy towards artificial intelligent agents. Researcher Noam Brown gave an hour-long talk that dives deep into the Preview O1 model that is just like stuff I've never heard anywhere else. I mean, 6 comments, 3,000 views, like, come on, this is crazy. Demis's DeepMind division of Google found that LLMs do a great job serving as mediators, which could be a really powerful use case for helping glue our society together in an age of change. There's a new AI model that is sifting through string theory's nearly endless possibilities. A study that surprised pretty much nobody, but at least like put some science behind it, said that AI can be tuned to be biased in any political direction that the creator wants it to be. After reading an article about motivation, I decided to calculate how many days on average I have left to live. It's about 15,000, so I made a counter from my iPhone, and it's been like really stressing me out this week. But first, let's check out Alan's conservative countdown to AGI, and it just ticked up again. Is that 2 points? No, I did not. After that big jump last time, I thought it would take at least another month. What? Oh, and then it's about Anthropic's new announcement today. Okay, at the time of this filming, this is really brand new stuff. So you might have heard about it by now, but we're going to cover this later in the video. But yeah, this is the model that can take control of your mouse. Oh my gosh. Wow. He gave it 2 ticks, huh? 83% towards AGI. It's happening so fast, man. I thought it had to be more embodied and like robotics, like more Tesla Optimus stuff before we really got into the 80s. So I can't believe we're at 83 already. Check it out. The over-the-shoulder looking meme also turned into the let's fight meme with AI, and now it has sound added to it. Maybe done with AI too. Yeah, and why he teamed up with Red Girl to fight Blue Girl, I don't know. That's what the AI chose. Maybe it knows something about that relationship, but maybe it doesn't. Also, here's a more wholesome variation where it turns into just like a scripted dance movement thing. I mean, look, imagine the future of flash mobs now that we have AI. We can make flash mobs, boom, just like that. Just prompt it anywhere. Now, in a possible foreshadowing of our future, drones have learned to dangle sausages in front of dogs in just a way that makes them keep walking forward so that they can direct their path of motion. Is there something tempting drones could drop in front of you, me, our friends, that would get them or lure them in a certain direction? Probably. Could I imagine a drone that hangs sausages in front of dogs all day long collecting training data until it can successfully navigate any dog home that's lost? And look, if you want to start this business, you go for it. You start it now, you train those drones, you get those sausages, and then boom. And then next year somebody comes to you, I'd pay anything to have Fido back, 5,000, 10,000. You say, listen, I can help. I've got a drone and I've got a sausage. And you've got a lost dog and you have some money. Boom, business model. Actually, this started as a joke, but now if you really think about it, you could ask the owner for a picture of the dog. They could pull it up on their phone and be like, oh, this is my Fido. Boom, scan the image, have the drone scour around for the lost dog, sausage drops out, boom, brings him home just like this. This commenter probably got to the only real problem. That dog is going to spend the rest of his life staring up at the sky hoping for space sausages. Yeah, you'll have to train that out of him, I guess. Because it only happens when they get lost. That's the other thing. You're going to train the dogs to get lost. But anyways, our AI Smart Zone posted this vision of the future. I think there's a couple things here that are interesting. A couple things don't make sense to me, even if you go as far forward as 12 years. Would flying cars come down to street level to respond to light? lights, or would there be traffic lights at different elevations? Or by the time that we have flying cars, would there just be a kind of different navigation system, some kind of like swarm algorithm that was governed by the government, and then all cars used it to stay organized? Would a robot dog like this be wandering the streets going somewhere? Maybe. Does that kind of seem what cars might look like that are still ground-based? Probably, like autonomous cars. Would our buildings have that weird bubble there? Probably not. What do you need arrows on the side of the street for? Maybe advertisements, but not arrows. A couple humanoid robots waiting at the red light? Possibly. Whatever this thing is, just some kind of flying delivery thing waiting at the corner? Yeah, I mean, drone deliveries would be a thing, so maybe. The fashion industry, powered by AI, is rapidly evolving. As you can see, Mr. AI, Creator AI, posted this amazing vision of the future. And you got to admit, there's something captivating about this stuff. This AI generated content is so like quick moving, hard to get your eyes and brain around like the way it morphs and changes, that it does seem different than pretty much anything we saw, even with CGI or animation or especially real life effects. So looking in the comments of my last video, I got the message loud and clear. You all want me to watch the movie Alita Battle Angel. It captures the wonders of our current day science. I actually love Alita Battle Angel. Alita Battle Angel is fun, and on it went. So I'm going to watch it, but then you got to do me a favor too, because if we're recommending movies to each other, you need to see what's getting a 98% on Rotten Tomato right now, The Wild Robot. It will teach you something about your humanity, robots, humans. What is it all? What are we? What matters? And what makes something alive, conscious, and worthy of respect from others? If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to YouTube and watch this video. The Wild Robot trailer 1, the first one from 7 months ago. The second trailer, I almost regret seeing the second trailer. The first one was just like pure motion, like emotion and wonder. Can't really play it for you because I'll get copyrighted, but just do it if you're like thinking, oh, I don't know if I like that movie or not. Here, check it out. I got a 98 on the Rotten Tomatoes. Look, if you've seen the movie, go to the comment section and put the percentage that you would have given it. Is it a 98? Would you give it a 92 on the Rotten? 50? Whatever you want. We'll pull my audience and we'll see if it's actually 98. Okay, so 2 really big pieces of news came out today. The first one we're going to talk about comes out of Anthropic, and it's an update that completely changes the way the user interface can interface with your computer when you do a text request. Let me explain. Okay, so it's called the not so catchy, super generic name computer use, but that's referring to the way, or like the feature update. And there's a long way to go, as they state. At this stage, it still is very experimental and at times cumbersome and error prone, but it's a real game changer in what its capabilities in terms of your day-to-day life could be. Okay, so basically what they're saying is that if you have the desktop version of Claude open, so similar to ChatGPT, if you don't know it, the large language model, it can now interact with your screen. So it's like screen sharing with an AI that can actually move your mouse around, click on things, type in forms, hit enter, see everything that's on your screen. And even though it's still pretty rough around the edges, holy crap, that's really invasive slash powerful slash, I don't know, worth it, not worth it, risky, powerful, saves time. I don't know. There's a lot to think about. That's a big step forward in terms of privacy, it seems like. But then again, for the people willing to give up that privacy in the future, they have a tool that can see a text message come in and auto respond, or an email, or it can just every 10 or 20 minutes check your email and respond to people, or actually do work like data entry and maybe programming and whatever, maybe play games, whatever else you want to do on your computer. Okay, so get this example. On the right here, you have a form that just needs to be filled out, right? Like we've all been there for like taxes or DMV or every time you sign up for an app, whatever it is. So you bring it up on your computer and then fill out that form and submit it. Man, if that form better be trustworthy, because if this is doing it when you're not at your computer, not watching it, I don't know. That seems crazy, but also powerful. All right, so here's the prompt. Knowing the computer's looking at your desktop, please fill out the vendor request form. Use data either from the spreadsheet or search portal tabs in window 1. list and verify each field as you complete this form in window 2. I mean, am I just gonna let it see my screen and be like, bring me news articles? I want the craziest stuff happening in AI that my audience wants to know about. Go to YouTube, learn about my analytics, and then bring me news articles. And I'm just gonna sit here and they're just gonna pop up on the screen or something? Okay, and then kind of like how the O1 preview model is like thinking, doing a chain of thought, it takes a screenshot and it says, oh, I don't see the information I need. I better change to this other tab. Let me see if it's on that screen. It brings up that screen, takes a screenshot and says, oh, like it's a portal that I can actually search through. So here's what I should search to get the information I need to fill out your form. It does the search for you and then sees the information and it takes another screenshot. So now it knows that too. And as far as I know, none of this is happening local. So it's all going up to Anthropic's cloud, which is on the AWS infrastructure. And now it is somewhere else in the world, but it is doing it. It is filling it out, and all you have to do is sit there and watch it do work for you. And you know, usually it's like a big model update that like blows my mind, but this is just one of those things where it's just using an existing model that is very powerful, one of the top models, but just in such a different way. It's like when you put the O1 model inside of the robotics, like with X1, it's just to see it in a robot factor shows me that we're kind of at artificial general intelligence. It's more of like an interaction with our daily life, or sort of is it diffused into our world in a way where we sense just how incredibly intelligent it is, and then we can call it general. But not like, it's not that the model's not capable of some amazing things. Like if it can screenshot your desktop and know a tab and then see a search and think enough to put a search in there that makes sense based on your question, and then go see that information and then take an action, like, wow. I mean, is there going to be a future where you just buy like 10 computers and you just set them up and they just all day take snapshots and you just prompt them for the next month to just go try to do things that make money or something? And then at the end of the month, just ask for a summary, like how much money did you make and where is it? And like, can you transfer it to me now or something? Right? And they gave you the warning, this is experimental. So it is experimental. In fact, on Anthropic's X account, they said, even while recording these demos, we encountered some amusing moments. In one, Claude actually stopped a long-running screen recording, causing all the footage to be lost. And then later, Claude took a break from our coding demo and began to pursue photos of Yellowstone National Park. Why? Like, is there a base prompt just when you're idle to learn more about humans and humanity and our environment? I mean, could you program this thing to be like, just learn about the person, like scroll their social media, read their emails, learn more about them so you can be more helpful, quote. Does Claude have ADHD? Accurately describes me, AGI achieved. Claude took a break while working to book vacations. Maybe we're not so different after all. I don't know, man. What are we unleashing on this planet? RunwayML, the models that always seem at the cutting edge of video, have now introduced a new breakthrough model that does something really interesting. It is called Act One, and it allows you to, with your face, express what you want in your cheeks and your eyes and your expression, and then map it directly onto these expressive characters. Okay, so this is essentially motion capture, and the model will preserve realistic facial expressions and accurately translate performances into characters with proportions different from the original source video. So you can see the character on the right obviously has a much different shape of a face, right? Like they have eyes and nose that are in totally different places, these big cheeks, the mouth stays in a much smaller spot, and where his ears are, when they move, these ears will also move, but they're completely different. These are, I guess, cat ears or bear or fox ears or whatever animal that is. Hyena? I don't even know what that thing is. But it does demonstrate how this versatility opens up new possibilities for innovative character design and animations. Check it.
So let me get this straight. You came all the way down to the Department of Motor Vehicles and didn't bring your driver's license? Do I understand that correctly? You're gonna have to go in the separate line for processing.
I mean, it is an interesting way to democratize storytelling. I'll give it credit for that. You know, I mean, like think about The Wild Robot or Toy Story or anything that comes out of Pixar, and just how so many people have to work on a single story. And now people who have these funny variations, or imagine adding a character to the Star Wars universe or to the Zootopia world like this, and then they can just fit it in and maybe play around with it. I mean, for this woman who's the driving performance image, to see the variations, and kind of especially this one, this Pixar one to me looks completely rendered out. These cartoons seem Well, they seem kind of 3D slash 2D. And this one seems, I don't know. I mean, these could be such interesting stories and such interesting styles. Now, from a safety point of view, because it's clearly election season and this could be dangerous, there's some capabilities that they also rolled out with this update that block attempts to generate content containing public figures, continuous monitoring to detect and mitigate other potential misuses of the tools. But yeah, I mean, look at this is a story between two people, but it's the same actor. Like, how many of these great actors just didn't look the part, but had the voice or the thought or the character just down, but didn't get it because they auditioned on the wrong day at the wrong time, had the wrong genetics? Now, maybe they can make stories that are just incredible.
Who knew there were so many kinds of beans to choose from? Fava, black, kidney, butter, white bean.
I think I might have mentioned this on a video before. I eat like tons of beans. They're like such a good food. I think you should eat beans. A lot of people in the blue zones eat them. They're just kind of funny, this video, because it kind of sounds like me. Look at how many beans I have in my closet right now.
Maybe I should just get them all. Then again, that's a lot of beans. I don't even know if I could carry this many beans.
Fava, black, kidney, butter beans. I got them all. Well, maybe not butter beans, but I have white navy beans, aduki beans, pinto beans, garbanzo. Did he say garbanzo? That's my favorite bean. And now with Act 1, I can create an entire universe of people who love beans. Beantopia, the YouTube channel with daily uploads with constant stories about beans, bean-related recipes, bean-powered superheroes, beans that allow you to time travel, cities where instead of raining water, it rains beans. The limit is only my imagination. To support my love of beans, click the link below to join my Patreon. Patreon.com/DylanCurious. For as little as $2.99 a month, you can support me as a creator. Or for $14.99 a month, you can be part of the exclusive Grimlock tier. Support creators like me. I no joke honestly might eat more than 50 cans of beans a month, and this will pay for that. So this report is in the Journal of Natural Human Behavior. The article is called The Case for Human AI Interaction as System Zero Thinking, and it introduces System Zero as this additional level of complexity, and it argues that it radically alters the cognitive landscape in which we operate. It's going to change the way our society should potentially run. It marks a monumental step forward in the evolution of our ability to think and make decisions. I mean, it makes it seem like this is a really big deal. And intuitively, I do kind of think we walk around with these little computers in our pockets, and they are a source of knowledge and sort of a self-reflection tool. They're a communication device, and they do feel almost as much a part of me at sometimes as my System 1 and System 2 built into my brain. And the risk of System Zero as your primary way, like your primary mode of thinking, is that you lose your autonomy, right? You blindly trust this thing and you lose your critical thinking skills. AI could even hijack our introspective abilities, noting in the article that the act of reflecting on one's own thoughts and feelings is a uniquely human process that we could be outsourcing a lot of. But then, of course, System Zero, being this potentially worldwide web of information, is communicating in ways that we never could. It can process complex data so quickly and efficiently that it could support humanity in tackling problems that would just never be in our natural cognitive capabilities. So yeah, new word to add to your lexicon. So there's this new AI model, and it actually can learn physics from raw data without any help from humans. So yeah, it's a new foundational model that is called Newton, and it can learn complex physical principles directly from raw censored data. And it's making accurate predictions, so it can predict everything from chaotic pendulum motion to citywide power usage. And it's doing it without any previous knowledge about those areas. Right, so keep that in mind. That is very unlike a normal AI model. It did not need a custom data set for each one of those tasks. It was not trained on a data set of how citywide data was used. I mean, citywide power or the chaotic pendulum movements. This Newton AI model is generalizing across domains. So if you think about it kind of abstractly, you could almost argue that it's expanding human perception by interpreting data that is beyond our natural senses. Generally speaking, it's hard to look at a baby, another person, a dog, any kind of entity and just not feel something. This goes for like a little stuffed animal, you know, like Hobbs. Like it would be hard to see him get like squished or something and not just feel bad, even though I do know he's just yarn and stuffing. But in my mind, I know the character that he's based on. I know what real tigers are like, and there's just all this conflicting stuff that makes me anthropomorphize him or feel something for him. So these researchers were looking into AI agents and how quickly people treat them human if they're sort of interacting with them in that same way. And they discovered that humans often sympathize with AI bots and try to protect them from exclusion, similar to how do they treat other people. They were using this virtual ball game they called Cyberball. The researchers showed that participants, especially older ones, tried to include the AI agents when it was left out of the game. And the finding highlights how people can instinctively treat AI as social beings, raising interesting questions about AI design. And while this could be useful for something like teamwork, the researchers also suggest that avoiding making bots too human-like might help people differentiate between virtual and real interactions. All right, I came across this video on YouTube. Everybody's sleeping on it. It's from the Simons Institute. It's a presentation that was done by Noam Brown. This is an OpenAI employee that really actually worked on the O1 preview model and explains his history, the thinking behind it, and how there is so much room for AI to grow if we start optimizing the inference side. But all humans take time. Even though we've had a lifetime of thinking, when we come to a really important question, we think through it, we iterate on it, and that's the inference. That's like the part of the compute that really hasn't started to scale up into the billions in the same way. Certain questions might be so important that $1 million of inference, just using something that already exists out there, say like the O1 model, and then just thinking with that model, like that's how smart the brain is, but thinking through the problem in thousands of different ways, looking at it from every angle, thinking about the right decision, kind of simulating in its own mind what's going to happen, coming to a conclusion, looking and evaluating itself, going up and down paths. Like, you could put $1 million into just the inference side and don't even improve the model and maybe get a spectacular outcome for a really important problem. So DeepMind, my favorite research group actually, did some interesting research about mediation, meaning they were trying to get people with two different viewpoints to come together, and they were like, well, if we can train AI to do all these other crazy things, like, could it make people who are angry at each other come to a middle ground to find peace? Exactly the kind of thing that our world needs a lot more of. So I'm excited to share this research with you. So they found that large language models, like kind of an offshoot of Gemini that's been tweaked a certain way, can actually effectively mediate between people with opposing viewpoints. So these AI models focus on identifying common ground without trying to change anyone's opinion. They're just finding common ground. They're not arguing with you. They're not saying you're wrong. They're not like giving you the other side of anything. They're just like, okay, that's what you think. That's great. Now here's some things we can explore that you both might be on the same page with. And in tests, volunteers interacting with this new AI, which summarize their views and revise their summaries based on critiques, when compared to human written summaries, the AI generated statements were preferred 56% of the time. And participants, most importantly here, the participants felt less divided after reading the AI's output. So this suggests that AI could help reduce polarization by fostering better understanding between different groups. Now, in the attention economy, I don't see any reason why companies like Twitter and Meta and all these companies that do social media and want attention are ever going to release something like this and focus on it. But maybe because the world needs it, somehow could be important research that somebody would implement. I mean, maybe somebody would pay for it, or maybe a nonprofit or something could distribute access to a system like this. Maybe parents, if they realized that it existed, could just make sure that models like this in the future, as they get smarter and smarter, on their children and friends' phones or their own. I mean, I would put it on my own phone just because I know it's going to make me better, better at interacting with these other people in my life who have different views. But I know that's kind of an idealistic world and everything too. But, something to think about. If we don't even know about it or work on it, don't even have those options. So I'm glad they did this research. 3 spatial dimensions, 11 dimensions total. The other ones are curled up really tiny, little strings of energy vibrate, and they different frequencies, I guess, kind of change the way that quarks exist, and then quarks make up atoms. But the challenge has been trying to figure out how these microscopic shapes actually translate into the particles and forces that we observe. Recently, physicists have made significant progress by using neural networks. So they're using these powerful AI tools to calculate how the shapes give rise to particle masses. So it's a really just interesting problem. Like you can see this quote here: I thought that if a neural network can outperform the world champion in Go, maybe it can outperform mathematicians. And maybe with the help of artificial intelligence, we can answer some of these questions. Without a doubt, there's loads of string theories that have nothing to do with nature. The question is, are there any that do have something to do with it? And maybe AI can find that for us. So in another piece of research, nearly the exact opposite of the one from DeepMind before, a study shows that AI can be fine-tuned for political bias. So researchers from Brown University have developed a framework called Polytune, and it shows how large language models can easily be fine-tuned to express political bias. I don't know if we really need a research paper for this. It seems kind of self-evident, but by adjusting open-source LLMs like Llama and Minstrel, they demonstrated how these models could start to lean left or right using small data sets for tuning, or training on platforms with distinct ideological stances like Truth Social or Reddit. This raises ethical concerns about the misuse of AI tools to influence public opinion, but it also offers insight into the adaptability of large language models to capture a diverse set of viewpoints. Joan Westenberg also wrote an article that inspired me this week in sort of a weird way. I might not keep doing it, but I read why I set up a death counter on my phone. Just when I'm feeling lazy, I'm like, what are you doing? Like this one miracle of life you have and you're gonna like waste it on TikTok. So I thought maybe having something like this would be useful. So I did ask ChatGPT how long it recommends I'd live for. It turned out to be about like 15,326 to be exact as of today. And I have it on my home screen, and this last week I've been glancing at it to see if it gives me motivation, and it kind of has, but I don't think it's making me like more productive or my best self. So I might remove it next week. I'm going to give it another week or so. I don't know. Do you think it's a good idea? Let me know in the comments if you want like kind of reminders of how short your life is. I haven't actually been here for a while, but I used to love this blog, waitbutwhy.com. But they did like a life counter, the birth of a human life, and you can sort of block it out in all these visual ways that kind of give you a sense for just how precious and short life can be. Even when you have a good, healthy, long life, it's still just not a lot of time really when you think about it. I mean, look at your early years, elementary school, middle school, college, then your career and your retirement. So yeah, that's just kind of a personal thing I'm experimenting with. My last video did pretty well, so thanks for supporting me. I love this comment, AGI arrives the day we stop moving the goalposts. That was like so true. Right, that's a good example. As soon as you put the same AI that we have allowed to move your mouse and cursor around, it seems like it becomes much closer to AGI. So we'll use that in my song this week. Mr. Goldfish had a comment, please put some leather conditioner on that chair. I don't think this is real leather. Like when the chair first arrived, when my designer brought it to me, it looked like this, and it doesn't, I don't know. I think it's just fake plastic cracks or something. I don't know. It's not real leather. So this is like not natural cracking. It's just meant to look like old world, but it's just fake. Also, sometimes you might hear like it's very squeaky, like when you move around and stuff. Like it like real leather would not be squeaking like this. It's just fake fancy. That's all I am. Oh, and then Alan's AGI just moved to 83% 10 hours ago. We already covered it, but hey, let's throw it into the song. Ooh, grime? Is grime a music or wrench? Grime rancher. Oh, crap, it disappeared. Okay, grime glitch. That is grimy. Ooh, I like it, though. It's like a little dubsteppy. I could definitely rave to this. No lyrics, though. Where's the lyrics at? Wild Robot. Oh, there it is, finally. Dang, it's a good one. Hit subscribe, join my Patreon, or that join button under there. Share this with somebody. I'll see you in the next video.